G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA, where on our first story today, OP refuses to continue to cook for their boyfriend, who just has to give them a score out of 10 for their cooking every single time he eats it. Now, if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, smack that like button, and get ready for some bloody good stories. Let's go. Am I the asshole for no longer letting my boyfriend eat what I cook after he rated my food in front of my family? My boyfriend, Jerry, has a culinary art diploma. He works 2 jobs related to his field, 1 as a chef in a restaurant and 2 as a cooking instructor. We've been dating for almost 16 months now, by the way. I had no real experience in cooking, but he encouraged me to learn and helped my skills improve so much, even though he has a habit of rating every meal I cook, which I find a bit rude. For example, X meal gets 7 out of 10, or Y meal gets 8.3 out of 10, or even Z meal would have gotten 9 out of 10 if the sauce wasn't so salty, etc. I didn't feel great with him rating my food no matter the score, but he says he's helping me improve. So, my family came over to visit, and I wanted to cook their favorite meals. Jerry sat with my parents and chatted till food was ready. He started eating and kept making comments about my choice of meals. Once he put his fork down, he cleared his throat and literally started rating every dish I made, giving me 7 out of 10 for this, 4.8 out of 10 for this, and 6 out of 10 for this. My family was so confused and I was floored. I felt awful as he kept giving advice on how to improve my score next time. He kept a straight face while doing it. It was awkward, just awkward the entire evening. We had a huge argument after my family left, and I told Jerry that he acted poorly and embarrassed me when he started rating my food in front of my family. I said to him that I won't have him eat what I cook anymore. He said I was overreacting and claimed what he was doing is just constructive criticism and I shouldn't take it personally since he's just used to rating his students' work. I said I wasn't his damn student and he wasn't Gordon Ramsay to be heavily putting my efforts down in front of family. He got offended and said my reaction was way over the top since he was just giving constructive criticism in order for me to make progress, and said he was trying to help and that Gordon Ramsay comment was totally uncalled for and just a low blow to his abilities as a respectable chef with a respectable career. He then asked what made me think that it was okay to come at him like that over a few ratings. He stated that he was hurt and went to stay with a friend for the night, probably expecting an apology from me. Am I the asshole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I overreacted by saying I won't have him eat anything I cook from now on, although he says he enjoys my cooking. Now in the comments, not the asshole. Sheesh. This is the real world, not Yelp. If you're both working on improving your cooking, then constructive criticism is generally fine. Not when it's not asked for, though. It doesn't need to be every meal, and definitely not in front of guests. He may think that he's helping, but this has turned into belittling and looks to be a power trip. Your Gordon Ramsay comment was right on the money. 10 out of 10. And OP replies, "Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate it." Maybe try putting things in a way he might better understand. Something like, "I'm sorry, but I'm just going to have to rate you as a 2.3 out of 10 as a boyfriend. Your hygiene is decided and you carry your weight financially, so that's good, but bringing your work home, being very unsupportive of my needs, and not being able to accept or even handle criticism while dishing it out is just killing your score here. Far too bitter and unpalatable to rate any higher." How about you rate his performance in bed? "Tonight I rate you 4 out of 10 because of blah blah blah." Wait, you're angry? Why? I'm only giving you constructive criticism for you to improve. It's not personal, don't worry. I rate every lover this way. You are being oversensitive. OP, my husband is a chef, culinary school, chef de cuisine, and now executive chef of a kitchen. He has never, not once, rated my food, ever. Except to tell me when something was exceptionally good. He won't even help by offering suggestions because he doesn't want to be a backseat cook, which meant that once he watched me chop up thyme leaves and the sticks and then ate the wooden pieces without comment until I mentioned the weird texture, there was no rating. Why? Because I'm not his employee or his student. I am doing him a favor by cooking a meal after he cooked for others all day. Crunchy spaghetti? He eats it with a smile. Too much salt? He has only one helping and a big glass of water. He'll only step in if there's a food safety issue like undercooked chicken, because again, he is not the head chef in our kitchen and he appreciates the effort. Don't put up with this nonsense. It's not kind, it is not necessary, it is not helpful. It is intentional, it is belittling, and meant to make you feel beneath him. I'd guess maybe there are other ways you surpass him, and he has to keep you humble so you don't catch on. Chefs aren't known for making a lot of money, so do you make more than him? Does he feel resentful if you have a more normal schedule? And does he feel that you're out of his league in other ways? Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my husband I'll dispose of my feminine products when he wipes better?" I'm a housewife. My husband works a 9 to 5, so I take care of the house all day, laundry, dishes, kids, etc. I just had a baby, so I'm still bleeding and I can't wear tampons. I can't wear tampons anyway because I have a tilted cervix, so I wear pads. When I change my pad, I wrap it in toilet paper, and usually the wrapper that the other one came in, but sometimes just toilet tissue. My husband always tells me that it's really gross when he goes to the bathroom and can see the bloody tissue that my pad is wrapped in, and he doesn't need to see that. We got in a fight about it, with him telling me it's disgusting to see the blood and no one needs to know that I'm on my period. Which I'm not on my period. I'm bleeding from birthing a baby. I told him that I would start disposing of my pads the way he wants me to, when he learns how to wipe better and I don't have to scrub crap stains out of his boxes. He told me I was out of line and has slept in the guest room the last couple nights. Am I the asshole? Edit to add, we have a trash can with a lid, but our dog recently broke it trying to get into the trash. I ordered another on Amazon, but it hasn't come yet, and I don't have a car to go get one myself. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I feel like I'm the asshole because I got my feelings hurt and stooped down to his level, and it felt incredibly immature of me. Now in the comments, you married someone who can't fully wipe. Maybe time to invest in a bidet, but if he's afraid of seeing period blood, I can't imagine how afraid his fragile mind would be at the thought of something touching his butthole. OP replies to that, I never did his laundry until recently when I had the baby and stayed home. Not the asshole. Stop doing his laundry. Tell him it's really gross to have to handle his underwear with poop stains on them, and no one should have to deal with that but him. Problem solved. Not the asshole. You were dealing with a newborn, a house, other kids, Lokia, and this asshole thinks that your bloody pads are offensive. Homie, if you can't handle Lokia and bloody pads, you aren't ready to have the sex and make babies. He can F right off. I mean, hubby can't figure out the concept of wiping until the toilet paper is white, so it seems like OP is dealing with yet another child. I cannot fathom an adult man acting this way. His wife just experienced the trauma of childbirth, and he's stressing her out and complaining about items that have been discarded in the trash. If it bothers him so much, don't look. Toss some more tissues on top of it, or take out the trash. For what it's worth, I managed to marry a guy who sang a jaunty, "Getting to Know You," as he was wiping my butt after I had come home from being hospitalized. I had to wear diapers for a while, use a bedside commode, the whole 9 yards. We had a potty party the day I could use our toilet, with bidet, on my own again. He does 100% of the laundry too. Mature men exist. Not the asshole. And stop scrubbing his underwear. He can wear the evidence of his inability to clean himself. Can we just pause and point out that crap is very easily water soluble and there's absolutely no reason to have to scrub skid marks by hand. Just chuck it in the frickin' wash. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole? I got mad at my wife because she caused me to fail an important interview. I, 27 male, and my wife, 24 female, have been married for 3 years. She is 6 months pregnant. I have been looking for a job with a better pay since my wife said that she wanted to be a stay-at-home mum after the birth. Today I had this interview for a position at a very good IT company, which would be paying triple my current salary. There were a lot of measures taken to prevent malpractice. I was not allowed to look anywhere but the screen, etc. The test was conducted on an online platform. I had told her numerous times before the exam about the strict invigilation. Just 15 minutes after the test started, my wife started knocking on my study door and calling out my name, saying that she wanted me to open a jar. I ignored her because I would be disqualified from the interview if I looked anywhere else or spoke. I figured she'd get the hint that I couldn't talk, but she didn't. She yelled at me, calling me an arsehole, and went on to talk to her friends on call. It didn't stop at the calls. She played loud music for her online dance yoga class. It was extremely distracting, and I made a lot of mistakes in the exam. It was a multiple choice questions based test, so I got the results immediately, and as expected, I had miserably failed it. I was livid at my wife. This was the 5th interview that she ruined like this. I told her that I give up on trying to make her life easier, and that I'm not ready to go looking for any more jobs since she doesn't even want to maintain silence during important interviews. I told her to start working again after the birth, and that I'm okay paying for a nanny/babysitter. She said that I'm being unreasonable in expecting perfect silence at home. Am I the arsehole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I believe I might be the arsehole because I shouldn't have expected complete silence at home. Now in the comments, do yourself a favor, don't have any more kids with this woman. The less child support you have to pay when you split, the better off you'll be. Unfortunately, I think you are right. For that reason alone, OP should encourage his wife to go back to work. If she stays out of a job for a few years and they divorce, OP may have to pay alimony on top of child support. Honestly, it might be her plan all along, sabotaging hubby until he wants a divorce so she can get alimony and child support and not work for the next few years? Not the asshole. You said that this is the 5th time she has done this. Well, her dream of being a stay-at-home mom is now gone. Let her know that she will be returning to work since she prevented you from getting a job that would have let her do so. Exactly. She is clearly doing this intentionally at this point, which makes no sense if her goal is for the family to be financially secure enough to stay at home with their child. Our next post is titled, Am I the Arsehole for shutting down access to my property and lakefront? Background. I recently purchased several acres of wooded property, a good portion of which juts out into a rather large lake. My little peninsula gives me some great lakefront. There's a smallish strip of beach, a dock, and a few boat slips. Because of the woods surrounding the lake, I'm the only lot for several miles that has access to the water without going bushwhacking through the trees. Apparently, over the years, my neighbors have gotten used to taking their boats down my driveway to launch or going and spending time on the beach. I bought the place over the holidays and just recently moved in at the beginning of the summer, and before anyone introduced themselves to me, I was met with a regular stream of traffic cutting through my lot to the water. At first, I thought it was because I purchased the property and didn't move in the right way, that everyone just assumed the house and land was vacant and could take advantage until that was changed. So I started walking out when I saw people and letting them know that I lived there now, and also making a point to make it obvious the house was lived in. Not much changed, so I got blunt and started asking people directly not to trespass on the property. I wish I could say my direct approach solved the problem, but people would still trek right through. I put up a fence and put up a sign stating private property, as well as a sign letting folks know that my dogs were on the property. Once I put the fence up, I started allowing them, the dogs, to roam the property and didn't want any trouble. Unfortunately, my neighbors took the fence and the dogs, despite the fact I owned the dogs well before moving to this lot, as an act of aggression. I had a neighbor come to my door and literally yell at me because my dogs barked at her kids when they tried to pull their rafts up onto my beach. That same neighbor advised me that my lot has always been the neighborhood entrance to the lake. Apparently, a number of my neighbors built the fire pit and put tables and rocks and park-like features out there. In chatting with a couple of the friends I've managed to make in my new neighborhood, they confirmed that what the neighbor said was true, that my property has always been more of a park than a private lot. Anyway, while I feel bad that the convenience of nearby lake access has been cut off, I live by myself, and I'm personally not comfortable with anyone and everyone just traipsing through my yard. On one hand, I feel like it's absolutely my decision to restrict access to my lot, but on the other, I'm wondering if I'm breaking some sort of unspoken rule of access that was established before I ever got here. Am I the asshole for closing off my property? Edit to add, I'm not asking for legal advice, I have a lovely attorney, and I'm well within my rights to close down access to the property. There is no easement, and I own the shoreline. Edit to add too, the neighbors took me letting the dogs out on the property as a sign of aggression. They didn't literally take my dogs. As the dogs are a pair of Malinois, good luck taking them someplace they don't want to go. Edit to add 3, the lake has 2 public parks, complete with boat launches and docks that are open for anyone's use, the nearest of which is a few miles down the road from my property. If a person were wanting to launch a boat, it would take about 15 minutes longer to do so by going to the public launch versus down my driveway. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I feel like I might be the arsehole because there was a precedent set that anyone and everyone could access my property before I moved in. In fact, it seems like some of the neighbors even contributed to enhancing the property to be able to use it as a park-like area. Now in the comments, not the arsehole. You can bet dollars to donuts that if someone gets hurt or drowns, they won't hesitate to sue you. OP replies, I'm sure you're right. You have to make your limits very clear and make them see that you mean business if you want to avoid problems. As someone with experience in property law and liability insurance, allow me to use the proper legal terminology. They will not hesitate to sue the absolute crap out of you. And even if they didn't want to, healthcare in the US means they'd probably have to in order to avoid crippling medical debt. Not the arsehole. You own it and need to deal with it. I had to fight legally off trespassers also. I was nice only until it got me nowhere. And OP asks, what happened if you don't mind me asking? We sold this house 7 years ago and lived there for about 10 years. It was in northern Kentucky and we were their new neighbors. It was really only one neighbor, his kids and his friends. They were constantly hunting and four-wheeling on our 12 wooded acres. We asked them to stop over and over. When that didn't work, we had the sheriff ask them, again, over and over. We got a fence, and when that didn't work, we took them to court. The judge admitted he had the same exact issues with trespassers, and he ended up ruling guilty, but asked if we would let him not administer the punishment. This meant if they even looked at us funny, we could call the judge and have him drop the hammer on them. We agreed, and basically had the neighbor by the balls, permanently. Not the arsehole. Whatever was allowed before you bought the property means nothing when it changed hands. It is your property, and you could be civilly liable if, God forbid, an accident happened. Post your property, put up cameras if possible. If the behavior persists, notify local law enforcement. Just because your property made access to the lake convenient for your neighbors, it doesn't give them the right to it. If the past owner wanted to grant these people permanent access, it should have been spelled out before you purchased the property. And now back to the post. Edit to add 4, I'll post my more comprehensive plan as an update later, as a few people have requested. But this last update is going to give you guys a thank you for all of your comments, and a quick insight as to what's rattling around in my brain after reading them. I still feel like my decision to shut down access through my yard and driveway is the correct way to do things. If there's a particular reason my lot should be used, I'll leave it open to one-on-one discussions. There is an intercom by the front gate now. I'm going to modify it to a video system that I can respond to from my phone, not just from within the house. As for the waterfront, there is no fence on the water, obviously, but there are signs alerting folks to the presence of the dogs. I really took to heart the comments about restricting access to the beach area, and I genuinely don't like the idea of doing that completely. So I'm working out a plan that will allow boaters to pull up and enjoy the waterfront without compromising my privacy, their or my dog's safety. I'm sure some type of landscaping could be devised to make it clear where it's okay to pull up and have lunch and where my expected privacy begins. Thanks again, guys. I'm very glad I was pointed in your direction, even though I think the friend who suggested I post here may actually have been kidding. Laughing crying emoji. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.